All right, it's talk time now. Lagos State Governor Akeem Ambode has called the state of the road leading to the Murtala Mohammed International Airport as a national embarrassment.
He disclosed that money for the reconstruction of the airport road has already been appropriated in the 2017 budget. The governor put the blame on the doorstep of the Federal Ministry of Works, Power and Housing for obstructing the state government's plan to construct a 10-lane road connecting Oshodi to the international airport.
The road linking the Oshodi bridge to the international airport, you all agree with me, is a national embarrassment. In the spirit of the regeneration and the urbanization that this administration has set out to achieve, we believe strongly that the image that is exhumed by the decadence on that road must be repaired. And we took it upon ourselves to appropriate in the 2017 budget that the House of Assembly should approve the total reconstruction of the airport road from the Oshodi to the international airport. The state already has a design of 10 lanes to come from Oshodi to the international airport with interchange and flyover that will drop you towards the local airports. The contractor is already set to go and everything has been set, it has been appropriated, and we already have the cash to do it. But alas, we are having challenges with the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing and Power. This is a road that we believe is an internal road and it's not an interstate road. And the Federal Ministry of Works believe that they should do the road, but they have not been able to do it all these years past. I just want to remind Lagosians that prior to my becoming governor, the Federal Ministry of Works has been owing Lagos State a total sum of 51 billion naira as reimbursement of efforts and reconstruction that we have taken here on behalf of the federal government. So obviously what we're asking for is that whatever it is that they want to do on the airport road, the amount can never be up to the 51 billion naira they are owing us. It's only logical that they should even give us part of what they are owing us so that we can complete this construction of the airport road within a time frame of 6 months. I believe strongly that with the kind of capacity that we have in Lagos State right now, we would like to commence the construction of the airport road within the next 2 weeks.
All right, we are joined now by airline pilot Captain Dong Rangpan, who I like his name so much. Many thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
On TVC Breakfast. Really, what do you think the controversy is all about? The road, the airport road, the governor has described it as a national embarrassment. Do you agree?
I do agree with that. Judging from the footage, you could see that should not be even a road in the city, not to mention our most popular city with our busiest international airport that has the highest patronage by, international audience. It is a huge disgrace to have that as what they will see when leaving the airport, or for those traveling to the airport. It is indeed something that should be redressed immediately.
All right, we expect that. In fact, part of when the campaigns were going on, one of the point of campaign was that this is the time, or the first time, that the party, the state and federal government are going to be in tandem. And then the irony of it, or the beauty of it all, is that the Minister of Works was the former governor of Lagos State, who has also raised the issue of the airport road before. So one expects that there should have been a seamless understanding between the Federal Ministry of Works and Lagos State.
Mike, you're quite right. You'll expect there would be quite some synergies because it is the same, it's more or less a seamless transition between the governments. And of course, if there's a state that has the highest internally generated revenue, it's Lagos. Lagos is a model of what states should be, self-sustaining. However, I think the problem has to be looked at beyond just Lagos and the governors. I know that former Governor who is the Minister of Mines,
Works.
Minister of Works and Housing.
made a rebuttal to
Yes.
what Governor Ambode said. But I think what we should look at is the communication between states and the federal government. There has always been a bit of a problem there. Because if you look at it historically, almost all the states are requesting for money for maintaining federal roads from the federal government. So I think the government should look for ways whereby this should be some sort of a process organized between federal and state governors with regards to movement of revenue and remittances. It'll make life easier. I can understand Governor Ambode's, impatience, because he's looking to make a mark. This is the second year. And I know he's requesting for the federal government to either hand over that road or make a plan to reimburse them when they repair
Like
the
you
road.
rightly said, Fashola did respond. He responded that that it takes time, that they need to go through the FEC meeting and all
That
that
is
and
right,
consultation. And he made reference to the Kaduna road. There was a road in Kaduna that was requested to be handed over to the state, and that it took like a space of 10 months. That the request was made in 2015. They got the approval in 2016.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that is the case, then maybe the governor here should just be a bit more patient.
Well, true. There's a need for that. But from an aviation perspective, we're looking at matters that have to be addressed. If you look through the 2016 budget, there was actually money voted for roads around the airport and within the airport premises, of course. FAN is the custodian of almost most of our airports. There are a few that are state-owned and a few that are privately owned. But we need to look at the impact of these roads on aviation. The thing is this, why people decide to use flights is because it is the most expeditious means of travel. Now you can imagine, a friend of mine was telling me that he brought his relations to travel, to go to London, and he dropped them off, I think, around 4 o'clock. It took him 6 hours to get back home. By the 6 hours, the relations had arrived in London.
Wow.
So you can see the bottleneck this kind of bad road situation causes. And I would advise both the federal and the state government to consider intermodal means of transport for Lagos. If it is not too late, let us consider other things in addition to just the roads. Let's consider rail, light rail service. Let's even consider something like London, underground, if it is possible. And it's really expensive, but it will free up the roads and make journeys to and from the airport and the total experience of facilitating flights much more easier.
Okay, let's go on a break and then we come back to dwell on this. Stay with us on TVC Breakfast. We'll be right back. If you're just joining us, you're watching TVC Breakfast. There has been complaint from the government of Lagos State, led by the governor, Akumi Ambode, on the state of roads, especially Airport Road in Lagos, leading to the international airport. And he's saying that the federal government is frustrating effort of the state government to repair and put the roads together, being the fact that the road is the first impression visitors get when they come into the state or even the country, depending on where you come from.
And the Minister of Works is saying, give me time. I only need time to do this.
Yeah.
There will be consultation and you'll get the approval.
And the time could be up to a year or even 9 months or 6 months, depending on what. We have joining us our pilot, Captain Dung Rampam. We have been talking about this. Now, you have, even at different times we've had you on the program, you've always talked about the issue of policy. There has to be the rejigging of some of the policies, some of the laws, some of the ways things should be done. Now, in this case, where the state government is willing to, based on the environmental looks or the aesthetics and all of that, willing and have the capacity to fix, if we're narrowing it down to this airport road, for instance, and the federal government is saying, no, give us some little time. Do you think that the law, the policy should be touched in such a way that states who have capacity and will should take over federal government roads and even other projects?
Well, I think it's a bit difficult to say they can take over federal government roads, but there has got to be an understanding. Even if it is an interim measure, there's got to be an understanding with that, in that regards, because there is a certain responsibility that must be within the purview of the federal government. For instance, security. And there's a thorny issue related to that has been discussed for about a few decades now, and that is of state police and the impact it will have on enhancing security or degrading it. So with regards to the roads, I would say that it's a recurring matter. So perhaps they should sit down and examine why they have been having this problem and have a solution. If they are just going to give up all the roads to the state and just include that in the yearly budget for maintenance, then that is a possible solution. But you see, the issue of the domain of the federal government and the state has to border on national security and national issues. Examine why they have been having this problem and have a solution. If they are just going to give up all the roads to the state and just include that in the yearly budget for maintenance, then that is a possible solution. But you see, the issue of the domain of the federal government and the state has to border on national security and national issues, which have to be within the control of the federal government. So I don't know how the impact of this will be on security. If you're talking about ports and airports, it's highly vulnerable. There is no way the federal government will give those to states, because it is a place where the country
perhaps
can
they can be more accountable, because there's an allocation for airport roads in the 2016 budget. So the government should be accountable to that.
That is the point I'm coming to. There has got to be transparency and accountability. And sometimes people like me have to go poring over the budget and calling people and say, what's happened to this? But the good news is, it's a bit of a digression, but in aviation anyway, I'm glad to say that we did spot that a full flight simulator of a Boeing 737 was voted for in the 2016 budget. I was able to call the rector of the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology, and he assured me that they have actually started consultation with a reputable provider, and this should be on ground hopefully before this year runs out. So that's one good thing we've been calling for. Reduce the cost of operating for airlines by reducing the cost of training. Pilots have to go for simulator training twice in a month, and for each pilot it will cost a minimum of about $15,000. So if you look at this with the number of pilots that have to go on training, with this now domiciled, hopefully by the end of the year in Nigerian College of Aviation, there'll be some huge savings for the country. It will also provide revenue for the country, because other countries in the West African sub-region that have that kind of aircraft can send their pilots here for recurrent training. So these are the kind of issues that we want to see. Transparency will really help a lot, and a bit of accountability to tell the public what's really happening.
You want to also look at the issue of sincerity. When Kaduna Airport had to come in as an interim airport until that of Abuja is fixed,
Yes.
You see how the government came out, all hands on deck, and they got the Kaduna Express Road fixed. They got a lot of things fixed. So the government
can be period of time.
With a short period of time. So the government can be responsive when they want to.
They can be responsive. The question is, was this budgeted for? Extra budgeting, extra budgeted spending. These are some of the things that shows, I would not say recklessness, but some sort of planning. We need a policy that will look at short, medium, and long term, so you don't keep on firefighting. Why was the Abuja airport, which expired in constructed 1982 and expired about 14 years ago, why was it not resurfaced before now? So you see, it's lack of a projection and plan in place, such that you don't even need to start making requests. We know we're going to resurface the airport after 20 years or 25 years, and budget is there for it. It's a federal airport. So these are things that the policy would most likely help, and also give the parastatals in the various departments a chance to see and know what they are going to do before it comes right in their front. The money that was spent rehabilitating the Abuja road for the light rail, the movement and facilitation of passengers, was this budgeted for? How much is that cost, and how will it impact on this budget that we had to borrow money to fund? How will it impact on things that are already planned? If we have a policy, it will prevent us from going into these firefighting measures whereby you're just reacting to things that have been forced on you by circumstances, basically neglect.
All right, but what would you advise on the ideal basis in this, if we're specifically focusing on the airport road in Lagos that we are talking about right now? What ideal relationship should exist between the government at the level of the state and the federal in ensuring that this is done? The road is constructed for the people.
I would say if they can fast track this, it will really help before the rains start heavily. It will really help for this road to be fixed before, and hopefully with a good relationship between the governors, the current minister and the current governor. We are hoping that they would have a lot more dialogue between them, such that they will both facilitate the Federal Executive Council from approving this rather quickly so that it is fixed. Of course, Governor Ambode says they've got the funds, they're willing to start in about 2 to 6 weeks' time. So it'll be good if we get this sorted out, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to pull it off.
As a captain or as a pilot,
yes.
when you used to fly?
I've not flown recently.
Okay,
well,
okay.
You have to fly within 6 months to say you have recent
Okay,
flying.
when you used to fly,
Yes.
imagine you're coming from any part of Lagos now, towing that road to the airport, driving yourself. Won't you be exhausted even before you get behind the, what's it called?
The cockpit?
The cockpit.
Or you get into the cockpit.
I tell you on a personal note, what I dread most in Lagos is the traffic and how the road users handle the traffic. Even with LASMA being there, it looks like they don't understand what the rules are. People don't know what the rules are at roundabout. And I think there's a culture that has permeated the town. People on motorbikes and this little tricycles think traffic lights don't apply to them. You would see policemen at the checkpoint, at the place.
And no one
the
is
red
saying
is
anything.
light. Motorbikes just go through. These ones just go through. What if there's a collision? I think the government should do something about this. That is the most scary thing. I tell people, flying, for me, it's fantastic. It's driving, especially in Lagos. That is a nightmare.
In all of this, what should be the way forward now? Because it's not just about Lagos State. It's not just about the international airport. If you go to Abuja, it's almost, although Abuja is better because of the expressway and leading into it, but if you go to other airports in Nigeria, you find almost the same kind of situation.
It is true. Nobody can deny that one of the greatest problems we have with economic activity is infrastructure. And we have got to look at a real solution to that. I'm trying to draw in and drag in the educational sector into it. Our budget for education is much less than we should. And that is why we're producing engineers, graduates in mechanical and civil engineering, and yet when we construct roads, we bring in the Chinese. We cannot even construct our own roads. We're not manufacturing anything, and we have, electrical engineers also being churned out in universities. I think we should invest in what will develop the real sector, the economy, manufacturing. Otherwise, we're just playing lip service to the fact that we have now a new economic recovery and growth plan. If we do not put real skills in the hands of our engineers...
Well, on paper, the government will tell you that they are looking for local content, not just to export local content, make use of local content, and make use of, as it were, quote unquote, local brains. But that's not what is
we need to give local brains the skills they need to succeed even locally. And that's one thing I think our educational sector has to be looked at, that you provide graduates not just with a first-class degree, but with also the intellect and the ability to be able to manufacture what...
But is it just the budget or the curriculum itself that's not a bit, not too functional when it comes to this vocational training you're talking about?
That is precisely what I'm saying. It is not just the budget. The curricula has to reflect a bit more practicality. They should do real projects, not just theory on paper. Let them produce something, learn to produce. If possible, give them some sort of on-the-job training during their 4-year degree programs, possibly abroad. The thing is that we have to make sure they come back, because we know what happens is you send first-class students abroad for training, and those countries poach them. If you look at the top brains in the US and in the UK, you will find that there's a percentage of them that are Nigerians in all countries. And we should, and that's
why
what we
is that?
need. Well, look, it's the fact that people don't have confidence in our system here. People think if I come here, I'll just get shortchanged. I will come back to Nigeria, and yet they will employ an expatriate from US and UK as a consultant to come and oversee a project that I'm supposed to be managing.
Just
we don't have
because
confidence in our system.
you graduated from the University of Maiduguri, for instance.
Why are you mentioning Maiduguri in here right now?
Anyway.
No, but I'm proud of my school anyway.
You gave me with a Harvard. Oh my God.
No, don't worry. Maiduguri, Investor Maiduguri has everything and so on. The point there is, if you travel the world, for instance, airports in Dubai, even in Otambo Airport in Johannesburg, for instance, you see this magnificent, you see this air of beauty, air of a lot of work has been done putting those things together. When it comes to Nigeria, it's a different thing altogether. Murtala Mohammed International Airport is the biggest airport in Nigeria, as we are still right now.
Yeah.
But you still can't compare it to Otambo Airport in Johannesburg.
Absolutely. And just to buttress your point, I did a quick check a few days ago about the top 100 airports in the world. And only 2 in Africa featured. Oliver Tambo, Johannesburg Airport, and Durban. These are the only 2 in Africa that featured in that, which means our airports are well below the standard required to feature in the top 100 in the world. And if you look at the traffic that these airports provide, for instance, Lagos, what's the population? 16, 20 million? The figures that, we don't have fixed, reliable figures, but let's put it between 16 and 20 million. Lagos Airport, in terms of traffic, did not appear in the top 100. But look at a city like London. London has a population of about 10 million. And what is the traffic in just one of the airports in a year? Heathrow, 75 million. The total population of the UK is 65. But they recorded traffic of 75 million in that city that is less populated than Lagos. We're not harnessing what we need. And airports are vital. That's the first thing a person sees when he passes through, even if he's not coming into the city. The airport, the lounges. And it creates a bad impression, and people will decide, we don't want to come and visit such a place. So I think these are things that hopefully with long-term planning, we need to plan long-term. Concessioning takes about 18 months to complete when you want to build an airport. And you should give the concessioner something like 15 to 25 years to be able to recoup that. So we need a long-term policy for aviation, and also that has to be integrated within the transport policy as well.
Okay.
All right, Captain Dong Rampam, thank you for coming on the program this morning.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, this is where we come to the end of today's edition of the program. We've talked about several things in here, but tomorrow we'll be back again to talk about other things that affect Nigeria and Nigerians, and even, by implication, Africa. I am Mike Okwoche. Have a great day.
And I am Busola Mituashi, and it's my birthday and I'm accepting a gift, like
birthday.
Island, Banana Island, for instance. Lorry and trailers, I'm accepting them, please.
Take us out
me.
first. Take
All
us
right.
out first. Let's
Bye.
enjoy the cakes. Bye for now.